I'm going to ask everybody to, if you just join me, please send your real name on the chat box. All right. So the purpose of today's session is we are going to discuss price and promotion variables. Okay. And on top of that, we are going to discuss assessment 2 and assessment 3, as I promised in my announcements. Okay, so yes, the other ones that we are going to discuss today, we try to achieve that. And if we need longer than 40 minutes, we need to stop the meeting and come back to the meeting spot by clicking on the same link. Okay, and we are going to keep recording it. Okay, so you can play back in the future, right? All right, so we've discussed product mix, and we've discussed placement decision in the previous session. Now, today we are going to continue with price and placement and promotion. Okay. Now, before we move on with price, let me just highlight to you that a couple of key features of price. Okay, price is the only marketing mix variables that is relatively easy to adjust. The other marketing mix variables are not that easy to adjust. Okay, if you think about product, for instance, if you want to adjust the product, you need to spend a bit of time to adjust it. Okay, you need to do some research. You need to talk to the packaging designer. You need to talk to your R&D team. You need to talk to your manufacturing team, and so on and so forth, right? So that takes time, right? But when it comes to price, you can adjust it as as you think suitable. Okay, so you may recall that if you go to an electronic store, for instance, you bring the competitor's catalog. Hey, look, your price for that product is so expensive. See this catalog, okay? And very likely that the store will talk to you, will tell you that, hey, let me talk to my manager and come back to you to match the price or even beat the price further. Okay, so that's an evidence that price is an element, the only marketing mix variables that can be adjusted relatively easily. Okay, the second key feature of price. The uniqueness of price is the revenue. Okay, the other marketing mix variables mean cost to the business. Okay, if you think about product development, that means cost to the business. If you think about development strategies, you talk to your distributor, that means cost to your business. They are not going to work for you for free. Okay, you shoot a new TV advertising campaign, that means cost to the business as well. All right, but price has the potential to lead you to profit, to revenue, and eventually to profit, because you expect your price to be to exceed the costs. Okay, all right. So there are the two key features of price. Okay, now the other thing I'd like to highlight is that from the customer perspective, price actually reflects something that we expect. Okay, when we spend a certain amount of money, we expect something in return, right? Remember the exchange process that we discussed in week 1. So from the customer perspective, it is price reflects the willingness of the customers to spend, so they can get something else in return. Okay, and so what is price? What do we mean by price? Okay, well, look, in the olden days, or I think we can talk about two types of definition, two perspectives of price definition. The first perspective is actually about price being the amount of money charged for product or service. Okay, so that's one of things. So that's one of the definition that that we can also use. But the one that I'm going to recommend you to use is the from the customer perspective. From the customer perspective, price is actually the amount of money that the customers are willing to spend to acquire the benefit of a product. Okay, so if you think about price, I would recommend you to think from that perspective. Okay, where price is actually the amount of money the customers are willingly to spend for the benefit of a product. Okay, all right. Now, so that's what I mean by price. Now let's look at that further. Well, if you think about this, okay, that makes you pay bribe, rent, tuition, salary. Okay, you pay salary. That means price for the business. Okay, toll, tax, and so on and so forth. That means price. Okay, that means price that we are paying for as a customer. Okay. Now, in the olden days, price basically was considered as the addendum to the marketing plan. Okay, because they normally follow the policy of the company. But in today's business landscape, companies are aware that there is a connection between price and the value that we create. Okay, so there is a connection between price and the brand name, for instance, right? So if you buy a mobile phone and that has the Apple logo, you need to be aware of the price that you need to prepare for. Okay, so that's an example. Okay, and I think in this class, in class, I also mentioned about a drink water named Blink H2O, which is designed differently from packaging perspective, whilst the content is just the same as tap water, but they charge high price. Okay, the store name also means different price. For instance, if you go to David Jones, you can compare that to Target or Kmart, for instance, you will have a different price. Okay, and so on and so forth. Okay, country of origin also means different price. Look, you may also experience that in your home country, okay, where certain products from certain countries may be perceived as of higher value, so the manufacturer can claim higher price. Okay, right. So that's a brief introduction to price. Now, the next thing I'd like to discuss is the consideration to price. Okay, there are a few things that marketers need to think about when it comes to making decision on price. Okay, the first one is what we call as price ceiling. Okay, we call it as price ceiling because that is the amount of money, the maximum amount of money that we can charge for the customers. Okay, that is related to the perception of the customers. If we charge our product or service beyond this price, the customers may say it is too expensive. It is not worth to pay for. Okay, so that's a price ceiling. We can't charge higher than the price ceiling. Okay, and the next one is the price floor, which is basically the product costs. Okay, we can't charge a product below the product costs. Okay, simply because we are going to lose money. Okay, we are going to lose money. We expect price to exceed the cost so we can make profit. Okay, now the other reason why we can't charge our product below the cost is because we may be engaged in we may be accused of adopting the price dumping strategy. Okay, so we charge the price below the costs in the because we want to remove the competition from the market, and after that we escalate the price. So that is illegal. Okay. Now, in between those two, we have some other considerations, such as the internal and external consideration, the marketing strategies, right? The strategic direction, whether you want to, in your objectives, whether you want to aim at making profit, whether you want to prioritize making profit, or whether you want to prioritize having mass volume, market share, high market share, and so on and so forth. That will determine what strategies what pricing strategy that you will adopt. Okay, and of course, nature of market and demand will also determine the price, whether your product is in the elastic competition, whether your price is elastic or not. That will determine whether you charge a certain amount of price or not. The competitor strategies and prices. You may recall that in the first session, we discussed the micro and fundamental actors, where I recommend you to discuss the competitors' marketing mix variables. In there, you can benchmark the product price, placement, and promotion of the competitors. So that's one of the things that we also need to look at. Okay. All right. So there are the major pricing considerations. Right now, the ones that I'd like to discuss with you is these guys here. Okay. You can use any pricing strategies here for your assessment, okay? Or if it is a new product, and since we are more into new product, we are going to discuss the other pricing strategies as well later on. I'm going to discuss that, okay? Now let's look at this one here. This is basically, this slide shows the major pricing strategies, right? There are several options that marketers can adopt, that marketing organizations can adopt. The first one is customer value-based pricing, where they need to look at the customer perception about the price and then they charge accordingly, all right? So they develop the product concept, they discuss with the customers how much is the maximum price that the customers are willing to pay for, okay? And then they design the product accordingly, okay? They design the product accordingly, okay? And they're going to brief the suppliers and so on and so forth to source the certain materials for them. And after that, they make the product for the customers, right? So the customer value-based pricing strategy in brief is the pricing strategy that refers to how the customers perceive the product or service, okay? So that goes back to the customer perception, okay? How do I understand that? Research, okay? The second one is cost-based pricing. With the cost-based pricing, we actually refer to the product costs, okay? And after that, we design the price. We make a decision about the price. The companies would normally have certain percentage to mark up the price, all right, to make profits on top of the cost. Then they are going to convince the customers, hey, look, this product is worth that much. Okay, so they start with they make, okay, if you like. So they start with what they make. They make certain product, whatever, right? And they source the costs from their suppliers, all right? And they, after they make the product, they convince the customers, hey, that product is worth that much, okay? So you can see the difference between the two. The first pricing strategy actually takes the customer perspective. They start with the customer. Yeah, they start with the customers to understand the value that the customer perceive on the price, on the product or service. The second one starts with what they make, okay? With what they make, all right? Now, competition-based pricing actually refers to the competition, right? They benchmark the competition, they look at the competitors' strategies, costs, prices, and the competitors' market strategies, right? And then they look at their own product or service. When they look at their own product or service, they're going to judge whether they're going to research whether it is superior, inferior than the competitors, or on par. Then from there, they make the decision about their pricing. Okay, so they are the pricing strategies, right? In general. Yeah. So far, so good, guys.
Thank you, Theo.
So far, so good. Any questions so far?
All good.
All right, brilliant. Okay. All right, now let's move on. All right, so look, again, as we discussed before, price and value has the connection, okay? So how much do you think we pay for a fried, a portion of fried rice at the food court? Roughly how much?
What's that?
Yep. How much do we pay for fried rice at the food court?
For rice?
Fried rice.
Fried rice?
Yes.
Maybe like $10.
No more than $15.
Not more than
$14.
But you mean like mixed with vegetables and chicken, or just plain rice?
Yeah, just plain fried rice.
I think like $10 should be fine.
$10.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. What about at the local restaurants? Higher? Lower?
12, maybe? 12?
The restaurant more.
Right, okay. Fair enough. What about an upmarket Chinese food restaurant? Would the price goes
Cheaper.
up or would the price be the same?
Higher.
Higher. So the price go up. Okay.
Yeah.
What about at the 5-star hotels restaurants? Higher again. 20?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough. Look, guys, what does it tell us? What it tells us is actually you can charge the price, but you also need to adjust it. You need to adjust your offering. Okay, otherwise you can't create the value. At the food court, what makes them different? Well, at the food court, you can tell the service is different. Okay, at the food court, when you order food, you'll be called as next. Right after you get your fried rice, they get the money, and after that, this person will tell next. All right, at a local restaurant, yeah, you get some service. And an upmarket Chinese food restaurant, yes, you get a better service. At a 5-star hotel restaurants, yes, you get the best service basically, right? You expect that, okay? Someone will turn to your to your table asking you how's the food, sir, ma'am, and so on and so forth. You may have live music and so on and so forth. Okay, so yes, although you can technically speaking as a marketer, you can design your price, all right, as you please in quote unquote, but you also need to consider the other marketing variables that you deliver for the customers. Otherwise, it won't work. Okay. Right, so this slide shows, I'm not going to talk about this one because we just discussed that. Okay, this slide shows the difference between cost-based pricing and value-based pricing. Okay, but briefly, in the case of cost-based pricing, you start the product, what product you make, and you source the costs, the costing, and after that you make the product and you convince the customers about the product value. In the case of value-based or customer value-based, you review the customer perception, and then you set the certain target price, and after that you make the product. Okay. All right. So, well, my price is a bit lower than your prices, guys. So I'm more stingy probably. Food court, $6-8, and so on and so forth. But anyway, that gives us the same message that we increase the price at. All right, so we understand that there is a connection between the price and the perception of value. Okay, so please bear that in mind, that the price that you design also creates certain value, a certain perception. Okay. Now this is the pricing strategy that I would like to recommend you to adopt, because very likely you're launching a new product. Okay. There are 2 types of new product pricing strategies. Okay, the first one is market skimming pricing. Okay, please use this concept, guys, because you're launching new products. Okay, either market skimming or market penetration. Now, market skimming pricing strategy or price skimming pricing strategy is adopted by companies that set the price high because they want to get high value, high profit per unit that they sell. Okay, now since the price is quite high, the volume is low. Right? They accept the fact that the volume will be low. Okay, the next one is market penetration pricing or price penetration pricing strategy. Okay, with this pricing strategy, the company normally adopts low price because they want to penetrate with intensive distribution strategy. So that, if you recall our topic last week, okay, about the placement strategy, so that they can have high volume. Okay, so how do they make up the profit? It is through high volume. Okay, because of high volume, they can reduce the costs. They can reduce the fixed cost absorption for per unit, so they can still make the profits. Okay, so if you look at that, there is a tendency that fast-moving consumer goods category adopts this pricing price penetration pricing strategy, whilst the the shopping product category may have the option of adopting the market skimming pricing strategy. Okay.
So sorry, Eddie. Can I say, for example, the first one is about quality and second one quantity?
it's not about the quality or quantity. But I think when you say quantity, you refer to market penetration pricing. That one is that one I can see your point. I can see your point why price penetration strategy is more into the quantity, because they are more they are focused more on getting the volume, high volume. So they are going to make the profit through the quantity that they sell, high quantity that they make. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, in terms of market skimming pricing, does it mean quality? I wouldn't say it is quality. I would say it is more into charging high price per unit, because they expect high profit per unit. Okay. That's their aim. Actually, companies that adopt these pricing strategies normally say that, hey, look, we spend a lot of, we invest a lot of money in our research and development. Therefore, we demand to have a higher price because of that. Okay.
Okay.
Now,
thank you.
your question actually leads to another point. Remember, several considerations for marketing organizations when it comes to price decision. One of them is marketing objectives. Okay, if the objective is to keep the competition away, then they may want to adopt price penetration pricing strategy. Because if the price penetration pricing strategy is adopted, that means they are going to charge lower price per unit. Okay, that will make the market less attractive. Make sense? If you do industry analysis, if you conduct the industry analysis, okay, when you expand to a certain industry, you want to ensure that the industry is attractive. Okay, how do we know that the industry is attractive? One of the variables to determine whether an industry is attractive or not is the price. Because if the price is high, that means it is the industry is making good profit. Make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, if you want to keep the competition away, then yeah, you charge the market penetration pricing strategy. Therefore, if your product is quite unique, okay, because you invest a lot of money, and to develop that product, and you find that competitors will find it hard to copy your product, then yes, you have the option of adopting price skimming strategy. Okay. All right. So, guys, can you please use this concept when it comes to pricing strategy? All right. Either market penetration or market skimming. Okay. Now, in your assessment, make sure you specify the price. You want to show the dollar sign. All right. We are going to adopt market skimming pricing strategy because of whatever. You justify it. We want to adopt market penetration pricing strategy because of this reason, yada yada, and you show the price. And our price will be, let's say, $2.20 because our competitors are, because the industry is around that mark, for instance. Okay, is that okay, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, easy, yeah? I told you, see, that's why I'm doing this. All right. This is another concept that I'd like you to consider in your for your assessment. Product mix pricing strategies. The reason why we discuss product mix pricing strategy is because very likely when we launch new product, we launch a range of products. Okay, the first option for us to let's say if we launch if you are in the chocolate bar category, when we launch the new product, we may launch different pack sizes, for instance, 20 gram, 50 gram, 100 grams, and so on and so forth, right? So therefore, we need to think about the entire the pricing strategies for the entire offering. Okay, now let's look at these concepts. Okay, the first one is the product line pricing, where we set the price across an entire product line. Okay, so if we refer to the chocolate bar, okay, or if we launch a hotel industry, a hotel brand, for instance, we may have standard room, deluxe room, suite room, presidential suite room, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we have different prices for those different products. Okay, the next one is optional product pricing. Optional product pricing is adopted by companies because when they launch the product, they have the main product and the accessory product. Okay, so you need to think about how much would you charge for the accessories as well. Okay, for instance, when you launch a mobile phone, you need to think about the casing, the charger, the battery, and so on and so forth. They are the accessories. Okay, so when customers smash their screen, for instance, okay, so you know the price. Okay, now the next one is captive product pricing. Captive product pricing is also also considers the main product and accessory, but the difference is the companies that adopt captive product pricing strategy would normally charge low price for the main product, but they would charge slightly higher price for the accessories, right? So they expect the business would come from selling the accessories. Okay, now look, if you look at printer category, for instance, they have the printer, right, which is the main product, and they also have the accessories, the cartridges or the toners. All right. So if you look at the that category, you may we may be able to pay little money, $30 or less than that, and we get and then we get the printer. But then although the price is quite cheap, okay, we need to pay for the cartridges, right? And they make money from us through the cartridges. Okay, and just a bit of reminder: if you adopt this pricing strategy, right, the captive product pricing strategy, I just want to remind you to make sure that you do not have the competitors for your accessories. If you have competitors for your accessories, then you can't make the business. Okay. The next one is by product pricing, which is basically charging the price quite low because you want to get rid of them. You may charge them below price, below cost. Okay. Now, is that illegal? Not real. No. It is fine because you can argue that well, look, I'm not going to sell them anymore. Right? If you go to your supermarket like Woolies and Coles, you may find a price tag reduced to clear, for instance. Right? They decide, no, we are not going to sell that product anymore. Right? So therefore, our mission is to get as much as we can from this product. Okay. And the next one is product bundle pricing, where you offer the price. You offer the you sell multiple products with one single price. Okay, the intention here is to create the affordable perception. Okay, right. So that's second concept. You can pick any concept in here that is relevant to your case. All right, that is relevant to your case. Okay. All right. The next one, this is basically brief information. Okay, I'm not going to talk about it more. Okay. The next one that you need to consider is the price adjustment strategies. There are several price adjustment strategies. Remember, in the beginning of the conversation, we said that the price is easy to adjust. Okay, and there are several options for us to adjust the pricing strategies. Right. Please use one of them as well, okay, for your assessment. So there are three concepts for your pricing that you need to include, okay? Either market skimming pricing strategy or market penetration pricing strategy. Second, product mix pricing strategy. Third, the price adjustment strategies. Which one that you want to adopt, okay? Now, look, can I suggest we stop the session now and we come back to the session because we only have 7 minutes. Is that okay, guys? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes,
That's okay.
you can click on the same link. We are going to continue our discussion and give me 1 or 2 minutes because I need to process the recording. Yeah? Okay, thanks a lot. I'll see you then, yeah?
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
And she didn't set the price back.